Alrighty, hello everyone, it's the Critical Drinker here. I am joining you on my own for the time being, although I'll probably be joined by Mauler slightly later for another session of Last Orders. This is for Open Bar number 71. It was a great stream the other night. Damn, we had a lot to cover that night. There was a lot going on in the world of entertainment, and we had loads of super chats come in. So as always, the ones that we didn't get through, we're here to cover tonight. So I'm going to get us started and then hopefully Mauler can join us a little bit later. But the first one that we've got here is from Campbell Patterson, who says, seriously, I've barely seen any marketing for the Marvels where I live. All I've seen is one poster at the airport. That's it. Yeah, I can't say I've seen a lot myself. A few posters on the sides of buses, that sort of thing. But that's pretty much it. There's not been any TV commercials or anything that I can recall. So I don't know, man. If I was Disney, I wouldn't throw any good money after bad with this one. I think they know it's not going to be a big earner, no matter how much they advertise it. So they're perhaps best just minimizing their losses on this one. Casey Boyd says, has Mauler or Az played Inscription? I hear really good things about it. Don't know, unfortunately, because they're not here to answer that one. I'm sorry, man. He also says, Drinker, did you get the Bushmills Prohibition recipe Peaky Blinders limited release whiskey bottle? No, I don't believe I did. No, it's. I know they've done loads of Peaky Blinders related stuff. There's like Garrison gin and stuff like that, but I've never really bought into it myself so far. Generally, these things that are made for TV shows and stuff are like blended whiskeys because it's the only thing you can put together quickly and cheaply. Because let's be honest, I don't think most of us want to wait like 12 years for the first batch of proper malt whiskey to be ready. So, yeah, it's generally not like the best quality. Norwegian Kryptonian says, can you get Brett Cooper on Open Bar? I'm up for it if she is. Well, I did the best I could. I did an interview with Ben Shapiro. I should have said to him, actually, look, can you get Brett Cooper in here? She's a lot better looking than you are. But hey ho, we'll do our best. Maybe one day we'll get her on to talk to her. Jack Stringer says, happy birthday, Mauler, for last weekend. Well, I'll pass that on to him, or if he watches this playback, then he'll get to see it. So thank you, man. TGV Monster says, in Lord of the Rings, I never understood why Sauron explodes after his ring was cut off. I know that he was I know he put part of his power into it. I would think it just meant he would get weaker and not turn into a ghost. Yeah, that's the movie taking license with it, really. In the books, it's slightly more complex, and it's perhaps left a little bit more ambiguous as to how it actually played out in a practical sense. But it's explained that during the War of the Last Alliance between elves and men, they fought Sauron and his forces around Mount Doom. They destroyed Barad-dûr, his fortress, and they defeated him and Isildur cut the ring from his finger. Or from his hand, sorry. Doesn't really explain, how that looked in practical terms. When you say defeated him, did you actually destroy his physical body? Did you destroy him magically? We're not sure. We just know that his power was broken, essentially. And I don't think that removing the ring from his hand would just cause his physical body to explode like that. That was just convenience on the part of the movie, I suppose. Just to give us something that we can grapple with physically. Social Morlock says, put Mauler in it and make him longer. Hashtag Floopyverse. Hey, I'm all in favor of the Flumpyverse. Let's make it happen. Crit Nature says, you need to improve the Open Bar. You better put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. That is true, yeah. Maybe we should do an entire Open Bar, which the whole panel is just composed of lesbians. Including me and Mauler for the night. Maybe one day we can make that happen. Casey Boyd says, hey, Drinker, got your comic, but is the other stuff like the dog tags getting shipped separately? Couldn't find an update in the email. Also got Mauler's vinyl, but not Fringy or Rags because I hate animals. That's understandable. But yeah, as for the stuff that comes with the comics, I'm not sure how that's fulfilled. I assume it's a separate shipping thing. Gets sent as a separate package. I know they were quite keen to just get the comics out as quickly as possible because it had been delayed a little bit. So I imagine the rest of the stuff will follow afterwards. So yeah, hopefully you'll get it sooner rather than later. So I'm sorry if you had a bit of a delay there, but hope you enjoyed the comic. Derek says, normally I'd be really pleased about, I'd be really pissed about a Highlander reboot, but Henry Cavill being involved makes me okay with it. Question is, who plays the Kurgan? Well, that's a hell of a question, yeah. I mean, it's going to take a lot to follow in the footsteps of Clancy Brown. Yeah, I mean, with the whole Highlander thing, like I know I made a really pissy video about it back in the day. You know, if anyone was going to be involved in it, I suppose it's nice to have Henry Cavill there. He seems like a sort of reassuring presence that they're going to be respectful to the source material. I'm just not massively keen on doing a remake of this. I think the original's got that real 80s charm, and yeah, trying to redo it now, I worry that it would just be a big special effects extravaganza and kind of miss the things that made the original so enjoyable. I mean, who's going to play Ramirez? Again, Sean Connery is a hell of an actor to follow in the footsteps of. Okay, Jay Fraser says, "Hail gents, what are your favorite autumn TV shows? Mine are Twin Peaks, Gravity Falls, Over the Garden Wall, and a series of unfortunate events." I mean, that's an interesting question. I don't really tie TV shows to autumn or to particular seasons, I suppose. You know, so there's not really one that I only watch at a particular time of year that I'm just associated with that time. So, yeah, I can't really think of anything that's like an autumn TV show for me. Might need to come back to that one, I think. T1S says, don't feel bad about not finishing Alan Wake 2, Mauler. Not even Lewis or his uncle would give enough of a shit to finish that abomination. God, people really seem to fucking hate that game. I mean, I've not played it, and I feel pretty grateful for that, really, because by the sounds of things, it's awful. Yeah, from what Mauler told me, the first Alan Wake is pretty good. It's pretty enjoyable. So maybe I should just play that and then leave it there. Don't do any more. Dearest says, Drinker, I read A New Kind of War. Ah, the comic, good. Good squad on a mission story, great art. I wish it was longer for more squad interaction and more personalities. Yeah, me too. I mean, it's just, I was kind of constrained to a fairly tight page limit. You know, they told me how many pages I could work with, and I just had to try and fit as much as I could into that. But yeah, it's kind of hard to have character development and you know, good relationships built up when you've only got like 15 or 20 pages to play with, and it's not like it's all text either. There's like very sparing amounts of text that you have there. So yeah, I did my best, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Like I say, it was just a fairly old school war story, but the gist of it being that this is like the last stand of that kind of World War II style of heroism. You know, and it's very much the dawn of a new generation of soldiers and a new kind of warfare. And that's Troutman kind of there to witness that. And it's really what gives him his idea to form his squad that, you know, will be used by Rambo during Vietnam. So, yeah, a little bit of insight into the plot there, I guess. Rainbow Ratto says, hi, guys. Thoughts on the House of Usher show? I'm liking it. I've got an episode or two to go, but I have to admit it's pretty good. A lot of attention to detail there. A lot of little breadcrumbs for you to follow as the audience. You know, a lot of hints about what's going on. I'm pretty sure, and I'm not an expert on Edgar Allan Poe's work, but I think they played fairly fast and loose with the source material about the fall of the House of Usher. But you know, I guess you can embellish it if you're willing to, or if you're able to tell a good story with good characters. Yeah, some pretty gruesome deaths in it as well, which is always fun. It doesn't have the spookiness of oh man, what's it called? The first one that he did. Hold on, I'm gonna have to look this one up. Yeah, it doesn't have the emotional resonance of something like Midnight Mass. But it doesn't also have the spookiness of what's the other one? I'm having to actually look it up here because the Haunting of Hill House. Yeah, that obviously had more sort of jump scares and more just general ghostly stuff going on. This one's a bit more set in the here and now, but there's definitely supernatural elements to it. So it's a bit of a what would you call it? It's a bit more of a restrained kind of show, if that's the right word. But definitely very enjoyable. Great cast, great performances, and so yeah, I'm really liking it so far. Thomas Mullins says, "Here's a small super chat solely to help support the open bar. Love tuning into the open bar every week. Thank you very much, man, and I really appreciate that." Fakil McKeezy says, "Last week I dreamt about drinkers singing Uptown Girl to a French girl at a French cafe and playing guitar. Weird. Well, okay. It's a good dream. I can neither sing nor play the guitar, so it would be very impressive if I could do that stuff, especially in a French cafe. But I like that idea, though." Ruben Cruz Tokar says, "As his weight is going down faster than Disney stock." That's pretty good. And man, yeah, we were just obviously talking about it on Open Bar the other night. Just tremendously impressed with his dedication and his hard work that he's putting in for this. Because, a lot of people make that resolution to lose weight and, they do it for a few weeks and they go on a diet and then they lose interest and then they're just back to square one. But Az has stuck with it and he's working his ass off, quite literally, in fact. So it's great to see, man. It really is. I say as I drink a beer, it's always nice to see people make positive changes in their lives. Blue Collar Loser says, "Just streamed 4 hours of Robocop. I know Az did as well. The game is average, but Peter Weller sounds great. A lot of nods to the films. Panel's thoughts?" Az is obviously playing it at the moment. I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. The footage that I've seen of it makes it look pretty fun. Yeah, I imagine you're just a bit of a slow-moving bullet sponge and you can perform a variety of gruesome kills on people. Hopefully, you can shoot people in the balls, because that's something that I always remember from the movie. And hopefully it's got the appropriate level of gore as well. Krusty Juggler says, "Yay, why not just ruin the only decent payoffs in Endgame? While they're at it, why don't they have the witches and Ahsoka resurrect Vader and have him fight with Luke's ghost?" Yeah, sure, why not? This is the world that we live in now. There are no consequences. In fact, I literally made a video about this exact phenomenon, saying that nobody just stays fucking dead anymore. They always have to get brought back whenever it's time to make a bit more money, just so they can milk the character a bit more. And so there's no consequences to anything. Nobody stays dead, so whenever a character does die, it doesn't mean anything because they'll be back. Black Magnum says, "With the continuing suck of video game movies, when do you expect to see a new Resident Evil movie in theaters?" Oof. Could be a while. Could be a while on that one. I mean, you had the Mila Jovovich movies. They've came and went. They were very much a product of their time. Then you had Welcome to Raccoon City. I think that went straight to streaming. I don't think it even got a theatrical release. And then you got the Netflix series. So it's like they've degraded over time. You went from theatrical releases to a movie on streaming to a shitty TV show. I mean, what's next? I would just go for fan movies. I know the Residents of Evil guys are making like a Keeper's Diary fan movie. There's various other people that have done similar things, and man, they don't have the budgets, but they've got the passion and they've got the attention to detail and the knowledge of the lore, which is what Hollywood sorely lacks with this stuff. So yeah, give them a bit more time and give them more views so they can hopefully earn a bit of money and do bigger and better stuff in future, because that's probably the future of Resident Evil on screen, I would say. Domagab says, "Wanted to thank you, Drinker and Mauler. You all have gotten me to talk animated movies on my channel. Selfless plug. If anyone gives a look, I'd appreciate it, and critiques. Thank you, and have a drink." That's cool, man. Thank you. And yeah, what you need to do, though, is tell us the name of your channel, because you haven't put it in your super chat. So I don't know where to direct people. But hey, if you've started a channel and you're now talking about things that you're passionate about, then power to you, man. And I hope it goes well. Victor Von Doom says, "Put a chick in it, make her gay and lame. Words that will outlive Kennedy, Iger, and Feige for all time." Really is, yeah. Az was right. That phrase is just going to become a rallying cry for everyone who's sick of this crap. Casey Boyd, how is it that in all the Marvel multiverse plots, we have yet to meet the Nazi Avengers. I know, right? There's so many interesting things that you could do, but they won't, because that would require too much thought and imagination. Thunderbow says, ahoy, and thanks for replying about watching Attack on Titan during the catch-up. I'd like to ask the broader panel the same question. Maybe the others can encourage you to watch it since the finale airs soon. Cheers. Yeah, I was in... where was I? It was Game or somewhere like that. Game or CEX, where they had all the sort of DVDs and stuff in like the used section. And Attack on Titan was there. And looking at it, I was like, man, this actually looks pretty good. It's not what I actually expected aesthetics-wise and the kind of world that it's set in, but it made me more interested as a result. So I will make you this pledge. I will watch Attack on Titan because it does look good and it's piqued my interest. The only question is, like, how long is it going to take me to get through it? Because there's probably about 500 episodes out there. Trevor Coyle says, just got a new kind of war. Nice! I hope you enjoy it too, my friend. Fakil Mikizi says, how much would Marvel have to pay you guys to write glowing reviews for the rest of Phase 5 and 6? I don't think there's enough money on Earth. Thing is, it would be impossible, right? For me and Mauler, who've been like super harsh on like Phase 4 and 5, to suddenly come out and start praising these films, like we just literally wouldn't be able to come up with reasons why they're good and make it actually believable. So it would be impossible for us to sell that to anyone, really. The Hidden Duck says, watched your Resident Evil happy hour today, Drinker. I grew up on old school Resident Evil, so it was awesome to listen to you discussing it in depth for 3 hours. Cheers. That, honestly, it was a pleasure. I could have easily sat there for 6 hours discussing that stuff, because we glossed over some of the later games in the series just because we were quite aware that we'd been going for a long time by that point. But it was great, man. Jared from Avalanche Reviews is a guy, like, I've been a fan of his channel for a long time, and he's one of the proper, like, really deep knowledge Resident Evil channels, and he's posted so much great content over the years. It was great to finally hook up with him and just chat about one of my favorite franchises. And Carrier, a Raccoon City story, as we mentioned on the night. It's a smaller channel, but like he is doing great work with his noir detective story set in Raccoon City. It's honestly really enjoyable, and I can't recommend his stuff enough. So hopefully we can give him a bit of a boost as well. But yeah, it was a great night. I just really enjoyed it. Dr. Mub says, if you could choose one film to have a sequel, assuming that it would be good, what would it be? I personally choose Dredd. Fuck, I was going to choose that. Carl Urban nailed the part, and the film was just a solid action flick with a hot sidekick. More, please. Yeah, I mean, I probably would have picked Dredd, honestly, because out of all these movies that have come out over the past 10, 15 years, that one more than anything deserved a sequel. I know it didn't do great at the box office, but I think they just really got the source material. They understood the character, and they really did it justice. I don't know why it didn't do better. Maybe it was just bad marketing or something, but just a simple, kick-ass action movie featuring an awesome character that, Carl Urban just played him to absolute perfection. So, yeah, that. I always thought, from way back in the day, right, I would have loved Flash Gordon to have gotten a sequel. It is the campiest, cheesiest, goofiest sci-fi action movie ever made. But my God, it's fun. And like Brian Blessed, like Sam Jones, like Timothy Dalton as well. That was an early role for him, and he was awesome in it. It's such a shame they never made a sequel to that, because I would have loved to have seen what they would have done with it. Never mind what could have been, eh? Blue Collar Loser says, gonna drunk binge season 1 of Ahsoka tomorrow. I'm going to shave and get a haircut when I'm done. Joke is the show sucks so much that it aged me 6 months viewing it. That's fair play, man. Yeah, it'll do that to you for sure. It's definitely going to kill a few brain cells anyway, more so than this. Victor Von Doom says, I thought Mike Zero moved on to Will and Jada clickbait. I have no fucking idea, because honestly, I wouldn't waste a second of my life watching a Mike Zero video. It's absolutely pointless. Yeah, it's like anti-content. It's just like anything to waste your time. Yeah, no idea what he talks about now, but I'm pretty sure it's pointless. Black Sun says Bioshock Infinite and Dark Souls 2 rules. Whoa, that's fighting talk as far as Mauler's concerned, but I enjoyed Bioshock Infinite. Fakili Mkizi says, I've just watched Lord of the Rings Fellowship. It's awesome, but very rich. There's a lot of lore. How do I make it more digestible before watching the next? You don't. You read the books. Lord of the Rings is the sort of thing that I don't think there's a light version of it that you want to experience. Like the joy of that world is just losing yourself in the history and the lore of it, and just really feeling like what you're seeing is just one chapter of a much bigger story. That's what the books did so well, and that's what the Peter Jackson movies conveyed really well. So, yeah, all three of the films are pretty heavy on lore and references to stuff that you might not get unless you've read the books. But I recommend you do it, because it's a worthwhile investment of your time. It is such a rewarding story, the more you know. So that's my advice anyway. Istari Azul says, if Echo comes out as a lesbian, she'd literally be lame and gay. Would be so stunning and brave. That is very true. That's coming out soon, actually, isn't it? It's just a couple of weeks away, and it's all just getting dumped as one onto Disney Plus. They could not telegraph it anymore that they've got no faith in that show. Sam Wallace Art says, Mauler watched Digital Circus. Looks like a cursed Mario Party show, but has a plot that's a cross between Twilight Zone, 6 characters in search of an exit, and Soma. Sounds like a hell of a combination. Cole Hauser says, 1986 Transformers the movie, killing of Optimus Prime brought in huge mailing campaign from parents, and they changed the ending for G.I. Joe the movie. Yeah, they did. In the lamest way possible, where Duke takes a fucking spear right to the heart, keels over, and clearly dies. Like, that's what's meant to happen, but you get an ADR line saying, he's gone into a coma. And then right at the, you never see him for the rest of the movie. And then right at the end, after the bad guys have been defeated, you just get another ADR line says, we've just heard from the hospital. Duke woke up from his coma. And everyone just goes, yay. But yeah, that was their solution. They really went all out with that one. But yeah, it's interesting that they were killing off major characters in a kids show, a kids movie. I mean, they were hardcore back in the day, man. They didn't give a fuck. Fakili Mkizi says, we need a Silence of the Lambs review, Drinker. There is no chance a movie like that could be made in 2023. If it is, Clarice would be a girl boss. That is very true, yeah. I did a very lengthy breakdown of the movie with Star Wars Girl, because that was one of her favorite films, and we spent a good few hours talking about it, like kind of going scene by scene. It was a happy hour, and you can find it on my second channel, After Hours. Yeah. But yeah, if you want like a short version, I guess I could do that as well. I just don't want to go over the same ground when there's so many other things I still have to review. Casey Boyd says, people forget Age of Ultron is where the Avengers Marvel quirky humor started. Guardians of the Galaxy had it, but it was self-contained. Ultron started it in all the movies. I mean, to some extent, yeah, like there was humor in virtually all of the films to a degree, even in Phase 1. Like Tony Stark was always cracking wise, even in the first Iron Man, certainly in the second one. But yeah, I noticed the humor in the first Avengers movie. That's where Joss Whedon started to have his influence over it. And, to be fair, it was restrained enough that it wasn't overwhelming. But yeah, Age of Ultron was such a missed opportunity as a result, because they made Ultron, who should have been this terrifying, intimidating villain, into kind of a goofy, quirky Joker. And that is not what they should have done with that. Just, yeah, such a shame. Michael Batty says, fellas, based on your high praise, I'm going to play Resident Evil and Dark Souls. Where should I begin for each? Thoughts on remakes and when to play them? Okay, so Normally, I would never advocate for playing a remake first, but I think with Resident Evil, you'd probably benefit from playing the remake of Resident Evil 1. That's probably the best place to start. Forget Resident Evil 0 because it's kind of the mechanics are kind of frustrating if you're just new to the series, and it's probably better to play that later when you're a bit more experienced. But yeah, play that remake, then play the original Resident Evil 2 and 3, and then play the remakes of them, because it's an interesting point of comparison. And I think certainly Resident Evil 2, the original on PlayStation, is so good and so fun that you can forgive the fairly shit graphics, because that's pretty much the quintessential Resident Evil game for back then. And then just go in sequence, really. There's a lot of like subsidiary games and spin-offs that you can kind of just miss. Nobody's going to criticize you if you don't play Resident Evil Survivor, But yeah, and then when you've got a few games under your belt, like go back and play the first Resident Evil, like the original, because obviously, yeah, the graphics aren't going to be great, the voice actor's terrible and stuff, but it's interesting to see where it all began. And believe me, it actually holds up surprisingly well, because I just did a playthrough of it quite recently, and man, I still had a ton of fun with it. I kind of knew where to go and stuff, and obviously I knew the plot back to front, but it's still a neat little adventure. So it's still a lot of fun to be had with that. So that would be my recommendations. Thane Anderson says, I feel like South Park was making a point to show KK as Cartman because that's how they see her both physically and fictitiously. She's an evil little fatty. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. I didn't get the impression Kathleen Kennedy is fat necessarily. She seems like just a normal person, like physically in real life. Yeah, I just saw it as like, particularly when they're asking to like, look under the bed and check that Kathleen Kennedy's not there. I just thought that's a pretty good commentary on like how some people perceive her. Like, she is literally the boogeyman hiding under your bed. Kathleen Kennedy's going to get you. So yeah, I think the Cartman Kathleen Kennedy hybrid thing, the evil one, was as Jedi Brooks said the other night, it's a way of them avoiding like lawsuits and stuff, because they get to hide behind the straw man of saying, well, this isn't the real Kathleen Kennedy, it's just an evil corrupted version of her or something that doesn't actually exist, but the things she says are just exaggerated over the top versions of what the real Kathleen Kennedy advocates for, I guess. So it allows them to play devil's advocate with it a little bit. Bandit Red says, frustrated, I take my glasses off. Attack on Titan's final episode is Saturday. You haven't started it. It's only 4 seasons. Watch the show. Okay, 4 seasons. I don't know, what is it, 20 episodes per season, or is it just like 10? Either way, it's still quite a lot to get through. But like I said earlier, it sounds good and it looks good, and I'm going to watch it. There you go. It'll get done. D says, you're all missing the main source of tokenized woke stuff. Sundance and the woke-owned festival circuit that Hollywood uses as the sole source for finding talent. It's all Sundance. Oh, that's interesting, actually. So is that like almost like the gateway drug to Hollywood? Excuse me. Normie says, greetings. So I completed my first book. Congratulations, sir. I wanted to have 2 people I know read it and give me feedback. Is that wise, or should I do something else? I would say it depends how much you trust them to be honest, because the problem with getting your friends to critique your work is that they might hold back and tell you what you want to hear, because nobody wants to shit on their friend's work that they've poured like a lot of time and effort into. And if there's genuine problems with it, they might not pick up on it. So it really depends if you can trust them to be honest with you. Yeah, I would go with that. Otherwise, see if there's other people that might be able to take a look at it as well. Realistic Delinquent says, KK's sister has an evil twin with a mustache. Okay. Dark Legendary YT says, Gina is a good female character and Kathleen Kennedy is a strong female character. Yeah, that's pretty appropriate, actually. Larry Escher says, If you like South Park and Team America, have you seen Trey and Matt's Orgasmo? Pokes fun at adult movies and superhero genres before the MCU. Super quotable lines. You've got to watch it. No, I haven't seen that actually. I didn't even know it was a thing. So need to have a look at that. Melvin Deeply says, when are you going to have Mr. Brown on Open Bar? I mean, I hate the English as much as anyone, likewise, but Brown's one of the good ones. Yeah, I would have him on. I'm sure I've definitely guested on his channel a couple of times, so I'd be more than happy to have him on here too. Cirrhosis of Liver says, apparently Organized Chaos says he often gets his Star Wars tips from Mike Zero. Surely this means that Mike is legit. Clearly, yeah. I mean, if he likes him, he must be good. Night Switch says, the next season will be more like the original Star Trek, and behold, with Picard Season 3, they were actually right. Yeah, I mean, with Season 3, they got it right. They did well. I'd like to see more of it. I just don't think they'll do it. Fakili McKeezy says, the way Drinker struggles with my name. Well, what can I say? You've got a difficult to pronounce name. I don't know what you're going for with this. Sometimes on these super chats, yeah, you get some absolute fucking tongue twister of names and you just don't know how to pronounce them. You do your best, you know. What can I say? Sam Wallace Art says, don't know about you all, but I'm hyped for Disney's 100. I mean, who wouldn't be, yeah? Look how far they've come. The Bits and Pieces Man says, Leon S. Kennedy has yellow fever, man of culture. Okay. That was a reference to something else previously. I'm not getting it. I don't know what the reference is. Amenius says, Drinker, my alcohol-related brother from another mother. Where does one submit a screenplay? To an agent, I suppose. Yeah, I will say, from my own point of view, I'm probably not the best person to submit screenplays to anymore. I used to do a bit of script editing and stuff for people back in the olden days when I had a bit more time on my hands, but now it's getting increasingly difficult, and there's not enough time for me to give a screenplay the attention it deserves and really work through it, provide the feedback, provide editorial and stuff. So I would try and get an agent or something that can take a look at it rather than approaching someone like myself. And here we have A Long Man Cometh.
Literally had my phone face up, facing me, so that I can see any and all notifications, and I had Twitter open on my browser, and I've never actually seen this before. I was going to screenshot it to show you. You'd sent me something, and it didn't push you to the top. You were still like 7th down.
Oh my god! I'm only like, the 7th most popular thing in your Twitter feed.
No, that just means that I talked to 6 people since you last talked to me. But
damn it!
Yeah, no notification on my phone on the Surface, but you sent me a message. I'm actually pretty mad. Everything's I was right here. I was right ready to go. I was playing freaking Dead by Daylight. I was like, Drake will be ready any minute now. I'm sure.
You're like, why is it taking so fucking long? Yeah.
So anyway, sorry about that, but I'm here. Hello.
No worries. Yeah, no, I've just been killing time until you got here, so it's okay.
All right. Hope everyone's okay and all the messages. Hope they were none for me.
There was one. Someone said that Dark Souls 2 and BioShock Infinite are great.
Oof. So are they okay?
You're gonna have to fight them, I think.
I mean, I feel like the world's done enough damage to them if they think that. I don't think I need to add on to it.
Well, I'll just carry on then with the next one, and I'm sure there'll be some for you. Dark Legendary YT says, this is how they make back the 300 million lost in 2023. I'm not sure what that's a reference to, but yeah. Tom has some thoughts. Says, She-Hulk made 9 half-hour episodes for 225 million. For 250 million, they also made 12 full-hour episodes of Andor. That is really interesting, actually.
Oh yes, these are ridiculously high budgets and everything. It's funny that's come in. We just did an EFAP recently, and looking at Star Wars Theory, talking about the budgets and how he at one point referred to what they gave to She-Hulk was excessive, and what they gave to Kenobi was pennies.
Yes, and it's not often you would say like 100 million is pennies, but like that's the world we live in. I did actually see his video where he's basically like, "Yeah, I'm fucking done with this." Like, they have ruined Star Wars.
He also said that I mean, ultimately, even like fan projects, they can be like excellent when they have a budget under $1 million, right? So really, the problem isn't at all the budget. And I'm sorry, but even if we have something like She-Hulk, even if we had something that had 500 million as a budget, and then Kenobi gets 100 million, I'd still be like, that ain't fucking pennies. They could have made an incredible show with a fraction of that. You know, because he's obviously upset at the state of Star Wars. There's a point in the video where he says, "Am I the only one that sees this?" It's like,
welcome to the rebellion.
We have T-shirts and mugs. You're welcome to join. Yeah.
I wondered how long it would take for him to break, actually, like, because he's been, you know, I think he tries to maintain a positive outlook with Star Wars, and I think he's probably a lot more forgiving towards a lot of these shows.
As you probably saw in the video, I'm tired of being nice or something. It was like,
yeah.
Oh my god. He also said Andor is for cheese-loving, wine-sipping French people with. Could you imagine Andor being called pretentious?
I know.
It's crazy.
This is what happens when you get, you know, institutionalized with Star Wars being dumb as fuck. Like, when you get something that's marginally better and a bit more smart, it's like, oh, this is for pretentious movie critics. You know?
This must be. Did they air Andor fucking TIFF? Like, what's going on here?
Here's a good point of comparison as well. Scrimier says 220 people watching the Marvel stream right now. How many people are here? Yeah, it's insane. These channels, like the Marvel official channel, that's got millions of subscribers, and they get fuck all engagement now. It just tells you how dead the brand is.
People controlling that stream, I really don't like. I feel like they were doing a contractually obligated things, like, got to keep this thing going for X hours. Like the amount of time it took them to reveal a Funko Pop from a little wrapping thing, just like they were just delaying time. It's like, who the fuck cares about a Captain Marvel Funko Pop? Are you kidding?
Yeah. I mean, they know their audience, I suppose. Like, when it's crazy cat ladies, let's just give them what they want, I guess.
You say that, but again, 200-ish viewers at one point. 200 cat ladies across the world, I guess.
I was just thinking, actually, I did a live stream once where it was just Lara eating a bone, and I had more viewers than that. And that was on, I think that was on my second channel as well. So that's like, I think one quarter the size of this one.
With that, then, can we say dogs beat cats? I'm just saying.
Dogs proof. The critical doggo is superior to the crazy Captain Marvel cat. So, yeah. Chris K says, for the group's bar tab, keep the goodness coming. Thank you, man. Glippy says, does the Marvels have a suspicious number of women?
It's not suspicious. It's just a huge number of women.
It's predictable. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, we're not going like, wait a minute, that's a woman. We're more like, oh, there's another one. Hello. What do you do? Are you already great? To be honest.
Any of you got any character arcs coming? No?
Oh, no. Okay. That's asking a lot. Come on.
Yeah. It was Disparu, I think, that pointed out as well, like, from the trailer, there's a point where I think the bad guys enter into Kamala Khan's living room with her family there. And the guys all cower, like, on the floor or in the corners, and the women shield them with their bodies. And he's like, this is something that has literally never fucking happened in all of human history.
I saw in the space station as well, Nick Fury cowers at first, and I was like, well, whatever. This is new Nick Fury, so
I legit
what he does.
I hope they kill him. I hope just kill him, put him
out of his misery.
Yeah, sure, because he's not Nick Fury anymore. He's just a husk of a man.
Oh yeah.
Meme you life says, insert funny comment here. Well, there you go. We'll consider that a hilarious joke. Good one, my friend. Fakili McKeezy says, how do people eat food with rocket? That's bitter. It's bitter, but it's peppery. So there's something to be had. There's something to be said for rocket. You put it on a burger, it gives it a little something, I would say. It's not the most exciting thing in the world to eat, but, you know, it's better than iceberg lettuce. Fucking peasants eating that. I'm gonna eat rocket, and I'm gonna watch Andor with my wine.
Don't forget to be little beret or whatever the fuck the hats are called.
Andrew B says, are those Insecticons on Azzy's shelf? I don't know. Probably. Let's just go with yes.
Maybe, yeah, could be.
The Bits and Pieces man. Controversial take here, but Brie has a great set on her. I'd motorboat them, apparently. I mean, sure, okay. What's our official ruling on that one, Mauler? Is that acceptable?
What was that, sorry?
He says that Bree's got a great set on her. I'd motorboat them.
I can't blame a man in any circumstance wishing to commit to that action, you know? I salute you.
Okay. Lord Botha says some woke writers are always trying to ice skate uphill. that was a good one from Blade.
Oh yeah.
You know that was Wesley Snipes' own like insult. It was like at a production meeting, and he was frustrated about something, and he blurted that out.
Well, what I'll say about it is the line is I like it, especially because it makes you think for a second, then you go, oh yeah. But I will say when you deliver something like that, I think it comes across. It's a little difficult to just get out as like a one-liner.
Yeah, I think particularly at that point in the story as well, it's like the climactic battle against like the most evil guy, and that's what he comes out with. It's like, okay,
that too. Yeah, it
seems like it should be just for a low-level vampire that he should have been earlier in the movie. Albert Nada Retro says there's swearing in Disney Marvel. There was.
Sure, yeah.
Tony said shit once.
Cap was upset.
Yeah, and well, Peter Quill said fuck once. That was nice. I quite like that delivery.
Oh, dude, I like that whole joke's great.
Open Croak the fucking door. Yeah, open the fucking door. Croak says, I'm just here to learn about the Wrath of Carano. Oh, she had a lot of wrath going.
Wrath of Carano.
Yeah. That's a movie I'd pay to see. Casey Boyd. Blade and Moon Knight in the comics have violence and gore on par with the Punisher. Disney will never do that. They should be branded separately. What a fucking missed opportunity Moon Knight was as a character.
Oh, yeah, dude. Easily likable.
I don't pretend to know much about the comic book character, but his visual aesthetic is cool as fuck. Like, his history seems really awesome. The split personality thing seems great. If he was a violent, gritty character on par with Blade, imagine how cool that TV show could have been.
Well, and they tickled your balls a little with that show because they were like the whole continuity thing where we stick with one character, and so he's like under stress, all this is going crazy, flashing, and then he clicks into when he goes back to that same character. That was really awesome, and it's such a bait because it's like, oh man, this show's got potential, and it's like it does not. Sorry.
Yep. Every time they have to fuck it up. Pat Star Deluxe says, because it's female oriented, it'll be called Sheath instead of Blade. I see what you did there. Nice. Big Daddy MRI. Here, take my money, have a drink. Thanks, drinker. I'm going away now, but I'll be back. Cheers. Thank you, Big Daddy. Appreciate it, man. Draco Orium says, hey guys, bit late to the show, but wanted to say I can't wait for the Silverback comic and Peeping Tom, lol. Anyway, thanks for a great show. Nice one, man. And yeah, it was great to have Az on. So he's now got his own live stream with Eric as well.
Yeah,
a weekly thing.
Ripping the Silverback, I think it is, right?
Yeah. That's pretty good. Black Sun says, you like retro futurism? Past aesthetic and future tech? Yes, I do. Stone punk, sandal punks, candle punk, clock punk, rocko punk, steampunk, deco punk, diesel punk, formica punk, and now punk. Wow.
Is this the thing as like order punk? Where everything it's just like Empire. But what's the most like lame thing ever? Ned Flanders punk?
I would say so, yeah. Crochet punk or something. Yeah. I'm a steampunk man. I like that stuff. It's a great aesthetic. Dredge says, so I had the brain tumor removed, then needed a second surgery, and then got meningitis. Jesus Christ. I spent most of October in the hospital, but I'm finally home with an IV treatment for the next couple of weeks. Excellent stuff, man. I'm glad you're doing better, and here's to a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
Cheers, man. Okay. A guy says, have you guys heard the report that Disney is in talks to buy full control of Hulu from the Hollywood Reporter? Yeah, I mean, it's not so much a case of being in talks. They're contractually obligated to do it.
Well, all right.
And that's a real problem because the cost of it is actually more than they have in terms of like their entire revenue, their entire operating capital. That's more than they can afford. So it's a bit of a problem, and it's due to be completed next year. like early next year. So God only knows what they're going to do. Acid Hot Pocket says, I've figured out how to fix Kang. It turns out that the Jet Lis from the one were actually all Kangs, so you bring back evil Jet Li from the one to be evil Kang and let him chew the scenery. Why not? Why not indeed? It's just unfortunate that when they did that shot in Quantum Mania and like post-credits, that all the Kangs were Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
You know, you could have had him be multiple people, kind of like in, Spider-Verse or No Way Home, where it's like, okay, you got different variations of Spider-Man or whatever, but like they're played by different actors, but they're all the same person. That would have been better.
I suppose the thing about it is it's both difficult and easy to recast. And what I mean by that is that it's like, oh, we have to consider that he turned up here and he turned up here and there's all this hype, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how do we do it? But then you could also just recast him. I mean,
yeah.
He just turns up as a different guy. It's like everyone just treats it as normal. It's like, oh, there you go.
How awkward would it be if you panicked and recast him and made a film with that, and then he gets found innocent? It's like, hey guys, I'm back. I can go now.
Fucking imagine. And then the recasted guy gets recast back to Majors.
Oh god.
And then they try to be like, yeah, he mutated temporarily through time.
Okay. Croak says Doctor Doom will be a female Wakandan under the mask who takes over Latveria, and she would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids. Sure, let's go with that. I'm up for it. Richard R says always show male butt and abs in the first 10 minutes. Yeah, and that's acceptable apparently. A guy under a bridge could pull an Elon, fire 90% of all employees, cancel all current projects, and it would literally cost them less than trying to keep all of this bullshit going. Yes, I agree. Disney needs an Elon Musk to come in and just fucking fire everyone. The Big Cheese, greetings all. A question for the fellas. If in an alternate timeline the Avengers was made in the 80s, who would you cast? I'm sure there's been trailers about that, where it's like Tom Cruise playing Tony Stark and stuff.
There's you almost you think about 80s stars and then you think about what role can they fill. Like
you'd have to have Arnold play Thor.
You could have Arnold play Thor. I would have thought Arnold might do Thanos though, or would it be because would you need like a Lou Ferrigno type for this? Because you wouldn't be able to CG it, right?
That's a tricky one because finding a guy who had that size but also like the acting gravitas would be a difficult one.
I don't know if we'd be too concerned about whether or not they can act. I don't know why, but like I feel like we were casted in the 80s. We'd be like, well, just get the stars in. We don't need to worry about acting.
It's 80s, yeah. I really would love to see Steven Seagal play Thanos. I think it'd be glorious.
Dude, he's doing his like martial arts against the Hulk. And he does his like pathetic karate chops and Lou Ferrigno Hulk just falls over like, oh, you got me. All the characters being shocked, like, oh my god.
Who would play Captain America? That's a good question though.
Right. There's gotta be loads of good candidates. I just gotta think of who was hot shit in the 80s that fits that bill.
Like kind of square-jawed, all-American hero type.
Yeah.
Like Robert Redford would probably have been too old by that point. If it was the early 80s, maybe.
Might be the right time to get him in, at least for a few movies, right?
Yeah, possibly. And you've also got Black Widow. Who was the hot actresses in the 80s? Would Jennifer Connelly be... Or should be too young?
I'm not sure. How old is she in the 80s?
Well, let's see.
Because yeah, some of these actors and actresses, I forget what their eras are.
So she was born 1970. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Oh,
well. Okay.
Who would Jack Nicholson play? Got to get him in there, right?
Jack Nicholson. Oh, Christ. Damn, because I associate I keep thinking of the Joker now. Whenever I think of him, it's like
exactly
it's universe.
Because you'd have to think of what kind of character he'd play, and I can't actually.
Loki?
Maybe pretty too old for Loki, right? Even in the 80s.
Well, I don't know, like you see him in The Shining, he was pretty young there. So Jack Nicholson. So he was born. Yeah, he was born 1937. So in The Shining, he would have been like 42, 43. He could do it because Tom Hiddleston's like in his 40s now, I believe. Yeah.
What about Harrison Ford for Star-Lord?
Nah, he doesn't have the right attitude for it.
You don't think? Can we get it out of him?
He's more like the sort of grumpy, cynical kind of character rather than, Star-Lord's a bit more like quirky and
that's true.
Oddball-y. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not quite sure who you'd have for that. It's tough, actually. Anyway, let's go into a couple others. Neil Stackhouse. I think it's possible to do the force of nature villain like Kang and Agent Smith, but the mistake is adding any level of humanity to it. It needs to be beyond something we understand to carry any level of stakes that matter. I think that's the problem, though, because they want you to understand what Kang's motivation is and what is, what drives him. And so you need to give him a personality, and a very human personality at that, because we need to know what he is. If it was just like a big wave of Kangs that you never really get any insight into, that's basically the Borg from Star Trek, which that's a terrifying enemy, but then like it doesn't really work as a character. It literally is a force of nature. And it's a very one-use kind of thing. Like the more they tried to explore what the Borg were and how they were organized, the less intimidating they became. Daniel Todd says, have you guys seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes teaser trailer? Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, all of those movies have been good.
Yeah, I have a strange relationship with all of them. As far as I'm aware, I like them all, but I don't rate them like as easy recommendations. It's kind of strange. I need to rewatch them to be more certain of what I think about them.
They're kind of like you watch them and think, yep, that's a competent movie, and it's a pretty good. I don't know what you say. It's a good example of doing a remake of something with better technology and perhaps a bit more finesse to the screenwriting. So it doesn't just feel like a knockoff or a cheap cash grab. They really built this from the ground up, and I think they did a pretty good job for it. But it's not something I rush to watch again. Any of them. It's weird. I appreciate that they're good films. I don't feel compelled to rewatch them. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
That's fair. I need to rewatch them.
Casey Boyd, I always thought Disney Plus was a bad idea. Before you had other streaming services willing to pay top dollar to have and produce Disney content on their platform, Disney Plus is unnecessary overhead and costs. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, and from their point of view, the amount of money they spend, She-Hulk being a perfect example, $200 million for a show that generated no revenue through advertising, no merchandise, and no really extra subscribers, I shouldn't think. I'd feel physically sick if I just wasted $200 million on a show like that.
They absolutely do feel physically sick.
I think they've just got buckets all around the boardroom. Like, oh God, this is the budget for She-Hulk. God. Joseph Patton says, for fuck's sake, man, the Marvels, I smell shite. We all do, my friend. We all do.
A little bit.
So what is it? 5 days now till it comes out. It's going to be fascinating when this thing hits.
When this thing slaps into our faces.
Yeah, I mean next week. So that's
comes out a day after open bar.
Son of a bitch! I wonder if we might get access to it on the the 9th. It does sound like internationally it does release in some territories on the 9th.
Well, yeah, Fringy said he's got it on Wednesday. I was like, shit, man. I wish we had it on Wednesday.
I know. Yar, Mauler. Yar.
ER, yes. YouTuber. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know.
Yeah, yes. There we go. Just give me 1 second. I lost my place there. Oh, yeah, here we go. Cost Billingham says, so Kang is the communist utopia. Kang-humanism, if you will. I mean, possibly, yeah. Symbiotic Entity gave us a super sticker. Thanks, man. Wyatt Prince says, have you read Berserk? And if so, what do you think of it? I have not read Berserk, I'm afraid. Sorry. Canon Folderall says the MCU is a leviathan with a slow nervous system. The fatal blow has long since been struck. The signal's only now reaching the brain, and the futile, confused thrashing has only just begun. Cheers. It's a good, good way of summing up.
The signal they've got is there's damage, when now what's actually happening is like half the corpse is already fucking like trailing behind them. Like,
I mean, you were exactly right, because you said this quite a while back. It takes more than just one blow to kill something as big as the MCU. It wasn't just like one bad movie or one bad TV show was going to do it. It's been a succession, a build-up of failures and terrible decisions over several years that's derailed it.
We were talking about this on EFAP, even down to, let's say, them burying the prison in snow in Black Widow. You'd be like, does that writing decision truly lead to the end of the MCU? And you'd be like, that's one of like 10 million choices that are all just like that together make an enormous sniper shot right to their fucking brain. Like, it's just gone.
Yeah,
it's like no one decision I think would have killed Marvel. Of course not. We were on quote saying when we were covering, I think, WandaVision or something, that to kill the MCU would take a hell of a lot. You'd have to fuck up almost everything in a row, and then they did.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there you go.
Hold my beer. Aaron Holland says, we all know Netflix Daredevil is peak Marvel, but I only hear people reference season 1. Season 3 is peak TV in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Daredevil?
Yeah, season 3 was really good. I think season 2 I didn't like that much, because that's when they started bringing in the fucking magical space ninjas that can,
So
do
I didn't like The Hand, is what you're talking about, right? That's that
yes.
group. I loved Daredevil. I loved Punisher more in season 2 of Daredevil than any other part of his tenure on the Netflix shows. So yeah, really liked season 1, and then season 2 I think had higher highs but lower lows, and then season 3 I forget where I placed it. I remember liking lots of it though.
Yeah, well, Fisk came back, and I just fucking love Vincent D'Onofrio in that role. Like
Bullseye as well, which a lot of people love Bullseye. I'm not sure how I feel about him because of he has to be nerfed all the time because he's so fucking unbeatable.
Yeah.
Like, in a world where Daredevil's dealing with, like, strong people or agile people, it's like Daredevil is basically a sniper with pencils that can kill you easily.
Yeah. He's not as cool as Colin Farrell's version.
But... the guy who strangled an old lady because she kept asking him questions or something.
It just occurred to me, actually, because we talked about, one of the problems that the MCU had was they started rolling out all these Disney Plus TV shows that you were kind of expected to watch, because now you get movies like the Marvels where you're expected to have watched fucking Secret Invasion and Ms. Marvel and WandaVision and all this other stuff, right? And it dilutes the fan base to such a point where they just can't keep track of everything. And it just occurred to me, what was so awesome about those Netflix TV shows is that it was set in the same universe as the much bigger stuff. Like, it was set in a post-Avengers New York, right? But it was never required viewing for the movies. It was very much in its own pocket universe that kind of referenced bigger outside events, but like it didn't like influence that bigger world. And that was such a smarter way of doing it, because it wasn't essential viewing, but you could kind of just enjoy the TV shows and get caught up in your own little mini MCU in that. That just works so much better. Like that would have been a much smarter way of doing it. Like low-level heroes just doing, city scale stuff or even neighborhood level stuff. Like that would have been a much easier way to digest it.
Yeah, I agree. It's frustrating, depressing that they couldn't really make a good decision at any point in this entire disaster. Specifically the latter parts of it.
Yeah. Sam Wallace. Drinker, watch Blood In, Blood Out. 90s crime family drama about Mexican hoodlums dealing with prison gangs, police, and addiction. Danny Trejo was technical consultant from personal experience. Nice. Yeah, because he's done time inside and, been involved in all kinds of stuff in his life. That dude has lived a life, that's for sure. Yeah, sounds cool. John A says, drink you magnificent fuckface. Do you plan on seeing the Marvels and giving the fans a video review? Hate to punish you with bad movies, but I think we've got to get drinker feedback on this one. Cheers. I mean, I kind of need to, don't I? Like, I think the best way to do this is actually that be my final review, and then I just leave YouTube, because like Captain Marvel essentially like got me started and made my channel take off, and I think it's appropriate that that's just how I end. I just walk off into the sunset.
Something about Gary with this is like there's something weird about the Marvels coming out. It feels like it almost feels like an excuse for all of it. It would be like the equivalent of a bunch of friends coming back to have some beers and go to a pub or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, there it is. We sit around the fire of Captain Marvel. It's like, how you guys doing? It's been a while, that sort of thing.
It's just to see that this is what the mighty MCU has become.
Yeah.
It's sad in a lot of ways. And I feel like it's not like there's going to be any like joy in like shitting on it or anything. It's more just like, yeah, this is where we're at now. This is what it's come down to. Pretty much it. Yeah. Nicholas Masters says, do you think it's okay when shows sacrifice story for characters by sacrificing consistency or introducing lore-breaking ideas, e.g., Angel becoming human in season 1? I don't think you should. No, like you shouldn't like break your own lore.
Got to be very careful. I assume the thing they're talking about in that, because it's one of the ones I mentioned, is maybe they're talking about the ring. There's a couple of ways that they fucked around in Buffy and Angel, with the idea being like we want to just have some of this pay off for a little bit, because we want to do something. But one of them is that I don't know if you remember, but there's a specific demon that if it bleeds on Angel, it'll give him back. It's like you'll become human. It's just like, that sounds a little lame. Like there's just a demon that if it bleeds on vampires, it makes them human. Like, okay. But what they do with that episode is called I Will Remember You, and it's Angel spends like a night or a day and a night with Buffy as a human, and it's like not to get too sappy, but it's one of the sweetest things ever. But then
I remember this. Then he turns vampire again.
Well, duty calls, and he gets beaten the fuck up, and he can't defend himself, and Buffy has to save him, and then he can't handle the idea of not being able to like protect people somewhat, at least with power that he no longer has. So he says he'd rather turn back the clock and be a vampire again, even if it means he has to sacrifice the memory of everything they did as well. And so she has no idea, but he does. Just another sad little bit on top.
Wasn't his arc originally as well? Like he was a vampire with a soul, and so if he ever experienced true love or something, then he would lose his soul. And like they get together for the first time, and like that's like he falls in love with her, and then loses it, and then he becomes evil, and then they have to fight each other.
Yeah, so the curse that the gypsies gave him because he ate like a whole village's worth of them, or a particular child or something.
Stop eating gypsies, Angel! God damn it.
They curse him with a soul, and the point of it is to feel the pain of everything he's done. Right? Like if you felt as though like vampire drinker eats a whole bunch of children, and then you get reinsouled in the body that has all that did all that.
What do you mean, vampire drinker?
Regular drinker.
Yeah.
But so you'd be tormented by how all the screams and the torture, all of that is your memory now, and so the curse stipulates, though, if ever he's experiencing a moment of just pure happiness, then obviously everything's gone wrong, so the curse undoes, but the curse in this case is giving him a soul. And so if that undoes, then it takes away the soul, it makes him a vampire. They talk about it in the show. It's like fucking gypsies, like the way they did these curses is so fucked up. Because like that happens again. He gets the same curse later when it's reinsouled, right? So that's still a thing for him. He can't experience perfect happiness or whatever. Spike fights for his soul. He earns it. It has no curse attached.
Wow.
It's a big difference between the two of them. And it gets brought up when they have their big fight.
I like it. Jesse George says the multiverse concept worked great in Star Trek and Stargate SG-1, but now the multiverse is just lazy, unimaginative writing. Yeah, I think that's the problem when it becomes just the focal point of your entire like franchise. Yeah, fuck off with that. It's just boring now. And they never really like do anything particularly imaginative with it. That's the real kicker. Not only is it a crutch for lazy writing, but it's like it doesn't even yield any fun results. So yeah, what do we get? Fucking Captain Britain, or fucking the Illuminati or whatever they were. Like that's it. That's all you're going to give us. Great. Jay Fraser says Late and gay horror recommendations: Evil Dead, Ash versus the Evil Dead. Yep. The Howling. Yep. Something Wicked, This Way Comes. Fright Night. I've never seen Fright Night, I don't think. Still need to watch it.
I've never seen it, but it's David Tennant's in that, right? The new one.
No, I was thinking the original, like the 80s.
Oh,
one.
you haven't seen the original? Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's weird. It just always passed me by. I never got the chance to watch it. The Lost Boys. Yeah, really good. Near Dark. Silent Hill. Not so much. 30 Days of Night. Great vampire movie. Let the Right One In. That's pretty good. Drag Me to Hell. That was fun. And The Endless. I've seen The Endless. I'm not sure what that is.
No, I'm not sure what that is.
Avarith says, Dead Space question. Why didn't Jacob Temple go to hydroponics to find Elizabeth? In the original, he did go to hydro after the bridge, unlike the remake.
Oh, people have asked that before. They might even have asked on this before. I would have to go through the game again to give you any kind of answer. I can't remember if we talked about it on the Dead Space stream, but if we haven't, I'm afraid I don't remember enough of the story to tell you whether or not that's like a whole.
Yeah, I don't remember it enough to know that one. Euler's Workshop says, have a banana and bask in the banana-ness of it all. Thank you, I will. Let me just take a moment to appreciate that banana. I'm going to have a drink and do it. Bananas. Interestingly, just a pointless fact about me, I used to fucking hate bananas for most of my life because when I was a kid, I went into hospital to get my tonsils taken out, and the medicine that they give you to knock you out was banana flavored, but it was like that horrible synthetic banana flavoring that doesn't actually taste anything. Honestly, it's called banana, but it's like this horrible fucking chemical goo that's vaguely like meant to be banana-ish, and it put me off it for years and years. It's traumatic. It really is. Ruined my appreciation of bananas for years.
I'm so sorry, but
yeah, hey, I'm probably deficient in potassium because of this. I eventually, forced myself to get back into it, and now I just can't get enough of them. Anyway,
I was gonna say, what kind of great ape are you?
Yeah, true. Cody Griffin. Well, apparently Microsoft owns Quantum Break with Saga, so Remedy changed her to distance themselves from that and make this version their own, so they claim. But I don't know. I'm enjoying Alan Wake 2. It's fine. I love the first one.
I really like the first one too. That second one, though. Oof.
Yeah, people were telling me to stay the fuck away from it because it's awful.
You should stay you know what? You should stay the fuck away from it and move toward. I assume you've heard of this. Maybe not. New game has come out called Robocop Rogue City.
I believe I have heard of this. Yes,
it's a U game. You'd love it.
Is it legit fun?
You to sell you on it almost instantly. It's Peter Weller's VA. You walk and talk and are as strong as Robocop, and if you shoot anybody in the head, it pops up and flesh and blood just goes everywhere.
Perfect. I'm sold.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted. I wanted blood and gore on par with the Paul Verhoeven movie. So if we can get that, I'm happy.
You could pick people up and throw them at other people, and they just like ragdoll and stuff. There's a lot of good fun in there.
Can you shoot them in the dick, like in the movie?
Yes, there's an achievement to shoot them in the dick as well.
Did you ever see that fucking sketch that I told you about, where it's like Robocop he shoots one guy in the dick, like in the movie, and then like more and more come at him.
Shoot him in the dick.
It ends perfectly as well because he's like saying goodbye and he's trying to get into the car, but his armor won't let him get in, so it's really awkward. Nico says, last year Disney had $8 billion in sales in California alone. They can handle hundreds of millions in loss to push an agenda. $8 billion in sales.
Damn.
When you say in California, what are you talking about? Like the theme park there? It can't be that. I don't know what it would be then. TL1524 says, did anyone play Lies of P, the retelling of the Pinocchio Souls? Like, easily my game of the year and a great sequel bait at the end.
Yes, I played Lies of P twice through. I thought it was really good. It's a Souls, copycat. It's probably the best of all the Souls copycats. And yes, it is an adaptation of Pinocchio. And at the end, I mean, spoilers in case nobody wants to know what the thing is, because I want to tell Drinker. It's I think I've told you before, but like it's such a fucking MCU type thing, but it's like padding across a rooftop and a girl is skipping and she's got red shoes, and then she hits them together 3 times. And it cuts out. It's like we're doing what? It's like, yes, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing, yeah. Nightmares in Paradise, ironically or unironically, so hyped for a Jigsaw Hoffman prequel.
Yeah, I think that's the plan, and I'm totally on board with that.
Cool. They're never going to end, are they? These Saw movies. Like, not until Tobin Bell is dead, and I hope that never happens.
No.
Crazy Greg says, I had no idea that Matt Stone and Trey Parker were incels. Well, of course they were, because, you know, they've got, if they criticize Kathleen Kennedy, they must be. Albert Nada Retro says, Gina Carano for president. There you go. You heard it here first. Jim says, I agree, but I'm not sure you have a leg to stand on calling other people degenerates considering you like pineapple on pizza. Well, there you go.
Everyone has their flaws, guys. Crosses the
true. He never claimed to be perfect. Bender, Rachel Zegor has a bad history with men as has with women. Okay. Albert Nada Retro, Godot saying she's not going to get rescued by the prince. I said it back in 2017 after seeing her in Wonder Woman and that improvised boat scene. Was that improvised? I assume it's the bit where she's like talking about all the Amazons like scissoring each other because there's no men around.
Fuck it, I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't exactly like fucking Gettysburg Address or anything. Like, wow, I can't believe you improvised that. OMG Puppies says, I knew some higher-ups at Activision. Years ago, they invited Anita Sarkeesian to give a talk, not because they wanted to, but because they were afraid she would generate negative publicity otherwise. Damn. I wonder how many gigs she got from just doing that. Like, you know, nice company you've got there. Be a shame if someone accused you of sexism if you didn't give them a consulting gig, you know. That'll be $100,000, please. Christ. GS Dylan Schneider says, real film ender for the Austrian Oak was the film The Sixth Day.
I love The Sixth Day. It's
why?
A shit film,
why did you like it? It's such a shit
Arnie.
ending.
I only care about Arnie being in films when I was that age. I didn't care at all of the quality of the film, okay? That's why I love Robin. Robin and Batman, I nearly just said. The Sixth Day is goofy as hell. I think there may be some good stuff in it at some point. It's kind of like existential too, right? With the whole.
Well, I mean, it tries to be, but then it's like, oh, should we play upon these ideas of like, what is this? Like, what is your consciousness? What is a soul?
Yeah, like at best, it's pop existentialism, but even then, it doesn't really get that right.
I just love because like the logical solution, I guess, at the end of the film with like the clone sacrifices himself to keep the original guy alive. You know, the original Arnold, because you know he sees like that there's value in like the original humanity of him. Instead, it's just like, no, they both survive, and one of them just goes off to join the fucking Navy or something. I can't remember what he does.
I think, yeah, doesn't
like, I'll see you later.
One of them gets a family, and the other one just fucks off. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's like, it doesn't feel like a very satisfying ending, but whatever.
Was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen it in a while, but was it supposed to be that we were supposed to believe we were with the real one the whole film, and then we find out we're actually with the clone? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
There's probably something that's okay in there somewhere. Michael Rooker's in it. That's a plus.
Michael Rooker is in it, yeah. I think the the interesting thing it plays with is like, well, you know, people are used in this one to say you get your leg blown off in a fucking accident or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You just like download your memories into a new body, that your old one gets terminated, and then you just wake up in a new fresh body. So it's like you can sort of pretend that you're still you, it's still your consciousness, but the reality is you're kind of just a copy of the memories of a person. But then what happens if like both of you are alive simultaneously? It's
yeah,
like, well,
that's where it gets creepy.
Yeah, exactly. And the movie does bring that in briefly, but it doesn't really do anything with it. And it's like, well, okay, you're kind of missing the opportunity to do something a bit more interesting here. It's like, it's just a dumb action flick with clothes.
It is dumb action, yeah. But like, do you remember? Because I think it's the opening. It's like an American football match, and a guy gets like his neck just crunched completely in some kind of accident. He's pulled away, and then he's like alive and well and at it again days later. And everyone's like, wait, what? It's like, hey, you know, it's just, it's fine. I find that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that feels like it could be the basis for like a really good techno thriller or like even a horror movie or something. You know, there's like lots you can do there. Doesn't feel like a vehicle for a big beefy Arnold, action movie. And that was really the end, or right at the tail end of him as just like the action star. Like after that, he kind of transitioned into just doing politics for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then
they released slides version of the Netflix documentary apparently recently. Have you seen that?
No, so like just a mirror one to Arnold's one.
I assume it's the same people who made the Arnold one. It was funny because when I was watching the Arnold one, there was some clips of Stallone. Because I was watching it with Fringy and Rags, I was like, I feel like they'll do one for him as well, and that this is actually when they were filming his, because you can get Arnie quotes then at the same time. And you know how they brought in all those different people who were experts. A lot of them will be good for the Stallone one too, right?
Yeah. It's going to be such an interesting counterpoint, actually, to Arnold's career. Because, you could probably make the argument that Stallone's the better actor and, didn't have the sheer size and dominance physically that Arnold had, but kind of went down, like, tried to compete with him in that sense. And, it'd be quite cool. Hold on. Ace Hanlon says, favorite Stallone movies? Copland is underrated. It is. Like, Copland never got the attention it deserved, but like he gave a good performance in that, I would say. Gained a lot of weight for it as well.
Did you say that guy's name was Ace Hanlon? Hanlon, I think it is.
Hanlon, yeah, Ace Hanlon.
Yeah, I think that's Lance Henriksen's character in Quick and the Dead. It's a deep cut.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice. Stallone movies. That's kind of my gap. It's weird. I saw like fucking Arnie's whole library, but I didn't see much of anything from Stallone. Outside, of course, I saw the Rambos, and the
Rockies.
The thing about it is, actually, I think I've only seen Rocky 1.
Holy shit!
I'm gapping on Rocky.
Oh god, we need to get you an education, my friend.
Well, you're supposed to be re-educating me on Star Trek.
I'm working on it. Okay, we'll get to the third one.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, we'll set a date for that. With Stallone movies, gosh, yeah, because like he was way more than Arnold. Like he was very much into like franchise and sequels and stuff. Like Arnold didn't do a huge amount of that in his career. So that's why you had like 6 or 7 Rocky movies and like 5 Rambo flicks. Probably I enjoyed Demolition Man. Like I think it was more prescient than people give it credit for now.
Oh man, that might be my favorite Stallone movie. I adore Demolition Man. It's fucking great.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes is amazing in it.
The citations where you get you get citation for language that just feels so perfect.
Oh yeah, that's just like present day for sure. I just love as well when he can't find toilet paper, so he just fucking starts swearing in front of one of those machines. Like, see you in 10 minutes. But yeah, that I liked Cliffhanger as well. Like I think that's a goofy sort of action movie, but it's got real charm to it. And God, what would be like? Yeah, the first Expendables I really enjoyed. They started to go downhill after that.
This just in, Drinker. I don't know how true this is, but it says Homer Simpson will no longer choke Bart Simpson in The Simpsons as times have changed.
Yep, I've heard that.
It wasn't okay to choke a child ever. Like that was. It's so stupid.
Fucking hell, we live.
You might have thought The Simpsons were cartoons. They're not supposed to be model citizens for real life. Holy shit!
Such bullshit. I mean, it's. The moment they started saying like, oh, we can't have like certain actors voicing characters like a poo or whatever because it's offensive, and I was like, oh, fuck off, you're done. Like the whole point of The Simpsons, like everyone's a fucking stereotype. Like it's just making fun of everybody. But no, I guess you can't do that.
They're all trying, but they all have their flaws, and they all represent different aspects of society and American culture. But oh well.
Yeah, it's not like I got offended by Groundskeeper Willie or anything.
No, it's funny. I wish they had a Welsh character who was a groundskeeper.
Yeah, they had Welshie in fucking Futurama.
They did.
Instead of Scott.
I'm pretty sure when they introduce him, he just says like, "I don't mind where." Like, what the fuck does that mean? I remember losing my shit. And then when he dies and Fry goes, well, shit.
I love how, like, because he's fat as fuck as well. Like, everyone else, like, jumps out of this portal thing and, like, lands on the ground. He comes out and is like...
It's just so funny. A Star Trek character called Welsh who just died.
Henry Ashman says Hillbilly Arnie is one thing, but Darth Vader pre-dub has a thick West Country accent thanks to David Prowse. Yeah, that's legendary. I mean, I'm sure you've seen his the undubbed versions. He was furious as well because he was genuinely convinced that, like, you know, when you got the unmasking scene in Return of the Jedi, that was going to be him. He'd get to play that scene. David, no, you're not an actor in the normal sense.
And that's you can tell from the deliveries of the lines in the, you know, like the original dub, so to speak, that he probably expected that to be in the film. Like the way that he's very fervently delivering a lot of them. Like, bring me the passengers, I want them alive. Like, but like it's like a guy. He sounds like a guy instead of Darth Vader.
Yeah. I don't know how, like, Carrie Fisher and stuff kept a straight face when they had to act opposite him. Like, that's acting right there.
There's plenty of quotes from like Alec Guinness and everyone else. That's just like, this is a weird project. I don't know what the fuck this is. Whatever. And it's like, oh, it's just one of the most popular movies of all time. It's like, oh, well,
they weren't to know.
Okay.
They weren't to know. Malt Krug says Arnold's German voice actor Thomas Dannenberg died just a few weeks ago, aged 81. By the way, this guy did Sly Stallone as well, which surprisingly worked pretty well in Expendables 2. Cheers to the panel. That's weird. So the same guy who dubbed Arnold also dubbed Stallone. Damn.
Imagine
what if they were in a film together? How the fuck is that going to work?
Both.
Because they were in a film together. It was like Escape Plan or something, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, and the Expendables movies, right enough.
I mean, it was probably not so bad with Expendables when Arnie has like 3 lines. So
yeah.
But you're right. No, Escape Plan. Yeah. Did you see that? Because I think I did.
No, I didn't want to.
Very much. No, nothing to care about, you know.
Yeah. Just, you know, see, back in the 80s, something like that would have been a fucking, like, world-changing event. Like, Arnold and Stallone are both in the same movie together. Like, holy shit, man! Like, the 2 biggest action stars on the planet. By the time they actually did it, though, it's like, it's just 2 old guys.
That's the thing. There was a time, I suppose the right time for them to do it was a time where they couldn't do it because the whole point was they were competing. And
yeah,
as much as we can look back and be like, it's a bit of fun, it's like, I'm sure they both took it incredibly seriously at the time.
I think Stallone took it a lot more seriously than Arnold did. From what I have read, like, he was super competitive, whereas Arnold's, you can kind of tell from his movies, like, he was having a bit more fun with it, whereas Stallone was generally, like, dead serious.
I was about to say Arnie was willing to do sillier things, but I was like, wait, didn't Stallone make Stop or My Mum Will Shoot?
Yeah, but I think he did that because Arnold had done Twins, or...
and he was like, God, I gotta find a way to be as cloudy as him and also successful.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. And I don't know if this is true, but I think Arnold might have played a prank on him or something, whereas, like, they did communicate occasionally, and Arnold's like, I would really want this role in, like, Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. It sounds amazing. And Stallone's like, well, I've got to have it in that case. He lobbied really hard to get this movie made. It ended up being a fucking bomb. What's the next one? Ron S says, don't think Matt and Trey waited until it was safe. They portrayed Muhammad despite their lives being threatened and addressed his docs. Don't think they were really scared of Disney or Hollywood.
This is a complicated thing because with the Muhammad stuff, I'm pretty sure they still got censored when it went out. So you can definitely make the claim they were okay with it happening, and that's probably the most dangerous thing you can do in a piece of media, because it can result in some serious repercussions. Versus saying Kathleen Kennedy ruins films by putting women in them, right? Like that's a lower level thing. But at the same time, I don't know. Safe might be the wrong word sometimes, because for all we know, this is like not something they were as plugged into because they just didn't give a shit. They might have made fun of this with all of the care in the world of about zero. They would have been like, fucking, I don't care what the repercussions of something like this is. We've done way worse. We've gone after way more. Remember they made a whole episode about how Tom Cruise is in the closet.
Yeah.
and Scientology and stuff, and they lost one of the main characters because of that. It'd be Chef, right? He quit over them making fun of Scientology. It's they've taken bigger risks than this in the past. The reality could be that this was on their to-do list and they eventually got around to it. I don't know how much they care about it necessarily, but we can agree that had they brought it out 2 years ago, we would have been like, holy shit, like, damn, they got their fingers on the pulse sort of thing. But doing it right now, you're like, yeah, I feel like there's a lot, and we already have. The Variety article felt like coming out at a similar time, and we're probably gonna get more and more references to it. We're watching a Futurama episode recently, one of the new ones, me and Fringy, and they make so many references to the nature of like canceling, how dumb it is, and how everyone who does it is horrible and stuff. And it's like, yeah, we were saying that 5 years ago as well.
I mean, yeah, as annoying as it is to think, yeah, we kind of had to lead the charge on this one and take all the heat, and you guys are like finally bringing up the rear. It's nice to think that it's happening now, and like perhaps the tide might be turning a little bit, and some of the nonsense is going to get dialed back because it can get mocked publicly now.
I think I tried to say this on the Open Bar episode, but instead of thinking of it as it's safe to make fun of, think of it more so as it's been unprotected finally. When it was first happening, it got this ridiculous cultural shield that nothing else got. That was one of our big complaints. Like, why can't we make fun of this? Why are we not allowed to make fun of this? What's going on?
Yeah.
And it just feels like that shield has finally come down now. And it's like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Back to normal. Or at least we can try and get back to normal.
Yeah. Tomani says, Marvel is in court with Ditko's family for the rights to Spider-Man. If Marvel loses, they'll kill Peter Parker and call Miles Morales Spider-Man, no hyphen. Is that true? Is that partly why he was created, to have their own backup version of him?
Wait, sure. What did they say? Sorry, I misunderstood.
Marvel is currently in court with Ditko's family. Ditko was like the original creator of Spider-Man, for the rights to him. If they lose, they'll probably kill Peter Parker and call Miles Morales Spider-Man with no hyphen. So, it's technically different.
That's got to count as competitive in the IP, though. Like that's.
I think it would open you up to a lawsuit for sure.
Got to, yeah. I have heard recently that Insomniac have announced, like in the last day or so, that they're planning to make Miles their main Spider-Man for the games.
Wow.
Peter's getting reduced. Apparently this has been set up in the games. Peter's already said that he agrees with Miles that Miles can take care of the city, doesn't need Peter to do it.
See, this is one of those other things, right, where you say, like, if you say something like, hey, I'm not entirely comfortable with this idea of like gradually just marginalizing and then eventually erasing Peter Parker, like the original Spider-Man who everyone's like, bonded with and gotten to know over decades, in favor of this other character who just, is the new cool thing. Miles Morales is like super protected, and like the degree of like backlash you get for anything like that is crazy. People would be like, oh, why'd you have a problem with him, bro? Is it because he's black? Is that the reason you can't stand to see like, diverse characters playing this role? It's like, no, you're missing the point of what I'm saying.
Yeah, presumably you'd take the exact same issue if it were another white guy called, Paul Parker. And it's just like, I'm going to be taken over. It's like, who the fuck is Paul? What? What's going on?
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I think I brought this up on Open Bar the other night. It's like, I can just sort of feel those gears turning. It's almost like there's this real push now to, make Miles Morales like the center of so many movies and games and stuff. And he's always portrayed as like cooler and more capable and just better than Peter Parker in every way. And it's like you can just feel it. You can really sense like this is what they want to make happen now, and it's kind of sinister.
Something I was told was that it was like, well, there's a foundation that's been set up by Harry Osborn in the universe that Peter is gonna take care of himself. Like, essentially, he's gonna give his time fully to a thing that's gonna help people. Like that's where he's gonna spend all of his time on, while Miles is doing the Spider-Man stuff. And I was just thinking to myself, like, you will never be able to convince me that when like some monster attacks, Lizard, Sandman, whatever, that Peter's gonna be like, Miles has got this.
Yeah,
he'll take care of it. It's like, bro, no.
As much as I have enjoyed the Spider-Verse movies, I do think they're pretty good fun. I fucking hate the portrayal of Peter Parker in that. And I know this is technically not our Peter Parker, but it's like it's so close that it might as well be him.
Peter B. Parker, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, fuck off. We know exactly what you're doing with this one. And it's like he's portrayed as a fucking goofy clown and he's just not really involved in it. And he's just there to be laughed at. And it's like, why do you have to do this? Like, why do you have to try and trash this character? Is this just planting the seeds in people's minds that Miles has always been cooler than him and better than him, more worthy than him?
I guess on a similar gear, what I'm worried about is, and we'll get our answers in the next one, is what's going on in this whole, the canon events and the whole foundation. Why is Miles the only one that's breaking from the conditioning? It feels weird that you've made him, like, canonically in your universe the most special Spider-Man ever.
Yep.
Which is just, I wouldn't want to. I don't like it when anyone does that in anything. It's just like, don't do that, please.
Yeah. Next up is Evan Smith. Drinker, do you think outside of the absolute swill that Disney and Marvel have created that we'll ever have a return to form of great story-driven movies again with competent writing? I think we will, yeah. I think the model that they have been using very successfully over the past several years has fallen apart. So we're kind of witnessing the death throes of the big, dumb, formulaic, shitty superhero movie that's way over budget and bloated and ridiculous. And so the economics of it are starting to bite. Now I think over the next few years, the superhero genre will kind of die down and you're going to get other movies coming out, whether they're going to be like super mature and interesting genre movies or whether they're just going to be dumb action flicks. No idea at this stage, but I think the superhero genre has just put such a stranglehold on box offices, like the summer box office season, for so long that it's stifled other movies that might otherwise have done way better. And so I think it will free up a lot of space that could give other movies a chance to flourish, and I hope to see it.
Yeah.
Sources Abdi Fable says, I mean, an Ahsoka fetish is understandable to me, and too bad the latest series sucked. Also, glad I caught the stream today. Been a minute. Thank you, man. And yeah, never really understood the thing for Ahsoka, but whatever. Flav says, Hail Drinker, apologies to the kinks. They seek him here, they seek him there. His comments harsh, but mostly fair. Happily eviscerating every dumb hot take because he's a dedicated critical imbiber. And when he does his critic rounds of all the trash from Tinseltown, pouring scorn over all right on liberal piss shite because he's a dedicated critical imbiber. Oh, yes, he is. Thank you, man. Story Mission says, if I could refund Spider-Man 2, I'd happily spend that money on Honkai Star Rail. Was it that bad?
I don't even know what Honkai Star Rail is.
No, but like people have not been liking the game, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it's controversial, I guess. I don't know how controversial. I keep saying everything. I've seen clips, I've seen gameplay, and I've gotten quotes from people I trust, but I still haven't played the game, so I don't know what we're dealing with,
Yeah. Oh, right, yeah. I was just seeing this this thing from Insomniac. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 writers confirmed that Miles Morales is now the main Spider-Man in the Insomniac universe.
Doesn't that seem really unnecessary as well, Like declaring that? It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's just, well, like I said, it's just the push to make him just the Spider-Man now. It's like, you will fucking accept it. Like, because we're telling you. Danny Olortigo says, hey Drinker, how would you reboot the Masters of the Universe trilogy? Part 1, Skeletor, Part 2, King Hiss, and Part 3, Hordak. What? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
How would I reboot? Yeah, I mean, it just sounds fine. Like, go for it. Blackguard says, the Black Widow movie should have been centered around Budapest and the Red in the Ledger mentioned in several movies. Yes, exactly. It should have been. Perhaps how Hawkeye managed to recruit her to S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, that's what everyone fucking wanted and expected. Why couldn't they have just done that?
And if you made it hot and violent, oh god, I picture it doing super well.
Yep. Dark Legendary YT says, crazy idea. Sorry, just before I go on with this, actually, this is just a perfect example of like the path was like laid out for them, you know, to make a movie that wasn't just part of the same generic fucking Marvel family friendly mold with the goofy jokes and the big extravagant CGI heavy finale. They could have done something totally different, but they fucking refused to. They just could not get outside of that fucking formula that they've followed for so long. That's where they went wrong more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Legendary YT, crazy idea for a Star Wars show. A non-human main character so they can race swap them. Sure, go for it. TJ Jordan just rewatched the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie as it just turned 20 and was transported back to a simpler time when Disney made good stuff. That movie is so fucking enjoyable.
It's one of the funnest movies. It's just, it knows what it's fucking doing. I saw someone sharing an image of Davy Jones from Dead Man's Chest, and like, this is a screenshot from Dead Man's Chest, and yet the CG looks better than almost anything you see these days. I looked at the screenshot, I was like, "Fuck me, does he look good? He looks really good."
The detail and stuff is incredible on him. Zed says, Jay Longbone or Comic Book Girl 19 on the bar, please. I don't know, Mauler, can we get them in?
Why not both?
Yeah, as long as they're lame and gay.
Yeah.
That's what we demand. Abaru says, if you want to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger in an early, serious, non-action role, I recommend Stay Hungry from 1976 with Jeff Bridges and Sally Fields. It's a good watch. Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of that. What can I say about it? He does kind of act in it a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I was that one. Playing a sort of, you know, playing a bodybuilder. Obviously, what else could he do? But yeah, he's got a few like emotional breakdown scenes in it. So you know, he does his best. I'll give him that. Protectron says, I saw a guy get knocked out at a Halloween party. Good.
All right.
Melodic Method said, Side Scrollers is a legit great channel. Craig and Co are unafraid to spit truth and have a good laugh at the same time. Yeah, I've seen a few. They do a lot of interviews with people, Side Scrollers, don't they? They've had Gary on, in fact.
Oh, yeah, not as familiar with them myself, but yeah, good stuff.
Ayan CZ says, I'm still watching... Sorry, I'm still waiting for your beautiful connoisseur to watch and say anything about Man from Earth. One of the best sci-fi movies, in my humble opinion, that's literally just a group of people talking in a room. Man from Earth. Hold on. Let's see who's in that. Right. 2007. Science fiction drama. Right. It's got David Lee Smith, John Billingsley, and Tony Todd. Tony Todd? The Candyman? Yes. Like it already. Yeah, not familiar with it myself. Okay. Chris Gay says, does the drinker or any other distinguished gentleman of the bar enjoy Dalmore 12, 15, or 18? I've actually got a bottle of Dalmore coming tomorrow. I've just ordered it. It's the 12-year-old, so I'll let you know how I get on. I don't think I've ever had it before, but it looks cool because it's got like the stag's head on the bottle, so very nice.
By the way, did you know that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's campaign is 3 hours long?
Yes, I saw that.
That's crazy, man.
They obviously know, like, nobody gives a fuck about the single-player campaign. It's all just about the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's becoming more and more just like an appendix to the game. It's whatever, yeah.
Didn't used to be like that when I was a kid.
I know, yeah. You used to get a pretty decent, set of missions from it. Molak says, the drinker fixes the multiverse. Nope, can't fix it as shit. Tomani says, I will go to my grave insisting that Clone Wars should have been Jango Fett clones and Jedi versus Maul clones and separatist androids. Lost opportunity.
Maul clones?
Yeah, all the Mauls.
Just loads of Mauls.
Yeah, none of them have legs, though. OMG Puppies. What is your favorite low-budget sci-fi? Mine is probably the 1980 PBS production of Lathe of Heaven, made for $250,000. Whoa. That is some budget. I remember one called...
Alien.
Yeah, I remember one called Life Pod, and I'm sure that was like late 80s, early 90s. And it was essentially like a sci-fi version of Lifeboat, the Alfred Hitchcock movie. Bunch of people trapped together on a life pod that's just ejected from a starship that gets into a serious emergency. You've got limited resources. They start to turn on each other. There's paranoia. Like they suspect that someone's a killer in the group. It's pretty cool. It's a neat little claustrophobic thriller, and I quite liked it. It was clearly done on a pretty small budget, but decent enough movie. M Towers says, for my first pint at the bar due to inflation, for the panel, if you were going to write a new story based on a place that you visited, where would it be? Mauler, I think yours should be the Isle of Man, just so you can have the flag in it.
I would make it would be a creature with the flags based on. That would be the discovery, is that there's a reason the flag looks like that nobody knows about. You're like,
yeah,
ancient god.
God, where would mine be? Yeah, I might set it in because I've been to places like Prague and the Czech Republic. Places like that are awesome because they've got so much history stretching back to during the Cold War and stuff. Like they had obviously loads of stuff going on there because of the division of Europe. It was stuck behind the Iron Curtain. So I think a place like that would be a fascinating place to do a story. Failing that, maybe one of those remote islands off the coast of Scotland where you feel like anything could happen there because there's fuck all police. There's no real civilization there. Again, it's quite a compelling place for a story to take place. Can see why so many murder mysteries are set in places like that. Next one is James Wilkinson. Please play Darktide as Mauler and Drinker. Play it. AN says, curious, Drinker, take on Netflix The Last Airbender coming? Not anytime soon. Haven't seen it. Rosie McRose, following up from last week, I've recently discovered a rabbit hole of people trying to cancel Paul Thomas Anderson because they don't understand his characters aren't meant to be good people. Why would you cancel him for that? It's not like it's not like he's advocating for slavery or anything. Jesus. Big Doc says, Ray and nephew is Jamaican rum, you savages. Okay. Sad Villainy says, Disney Plus makes Netflix and Marvel look damn near perfect. Or sorry, Netflix Marvel. Yeah, that is true. Danny or Lord Tigui says, Robert Pattinson is going to play Prince Adam. Was this Masters of the Universe? Fucking yeah, sure, cast him. Definitely got the physicality. And last up is Marcus1990 says, Drinker and Mauler, thoughts on the movie 300 with Gerard Butler. Not high art by any means, but fun, stylized action, one for the boys. Well,
can I say that you'll be finding out exactly what myself, Drinker, and Sargon, and several others think January 1st.
There you go.
That is the plan.
That's part of the arc.
Fucking so long ago that I'm sure me and Drinker have already forgot what happens in 300.
I just know there's a bunch of shirtless guys in it with abs. That's all we got. Yeah, you'll get our thoughts on it. So yeah, bear with us. It's coming. Anyway, though, that was the final one. So yeah, thank you for all those super chats that you've sent through. This was a long one, actually. Must have been a lot of super chats came in that night. But I appreciate you guys for your generosity. You clearly had a lot of questions for us, so thank you. I hope we've answered them to your satisfaction. But yeah, the next time you see us, at the very least, we'll be on open bar. I might have a few more other things on the go between now and then, but I will see you soon. Anyway, that's all we got for today, so go away now.
Bye.